All right, so today we're diving headfirst into the world of Exness. They're a brokerage, and they've been making a splash in the online trading world, to say the least. We've got their website pulled up, and let me tell you, there is a lot to unpack.
Yeah, there really is. And that's why we're here to cut through all the noise and figure out if Exness is the right fit for you and your trading style.
Perfect. Well, right off the bat, they're really touting this whole world's largest retail broker thing.
Yeah.
Big deal, right?
Yeah.
Does size really even matter in this game?
It's not just about bragging rights. See, bigger often means higher trading volumes, and that can be a good thing for traders. It can mean more liquidity, which basically means you can buy and sell more easily without, causing a huge price swing. Plus, it can also signal that the broker is more financially stable, which is always reassuring when you're, well, trusting them with your hard-earned money.
Right, because who wants to worry about their broker going belly up? So bigger can be better for stability, but what about the stuff that's usually buried in the fine print? Like they mentioned being PCI DSS certified, but what does that even mean for the average person who's not a tech whiz?
Imagine Fort Knox for your credit card info. That's PCI DSS certification in a nutshell. It means they've gone above and beyond to protect your payment data. Encryption, firewalls, regular security checks, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so that's reassuring, especially with all the online scams and data breaches these days. But let's shift gears for a second and talk about something a little more.
Well, shiny. They seem really proud of their spreads, particularly for gold trading. What's the deal with that? And why should I care?
Kite spreads, my friend, are a trader's best friend. Basically, the spread is that difference between the buying or the ask price and the selling or bid price of whatever you're trading. The tighter that spread is, the less you end up paying in fees, which is a big deal if you're trading frequently. It can really impact your bottom line. So tighter spreads equal more potential profits.
Gotcha. Now, they keep using this phrase on their website, ultra-fast execution. Is that just marketing hype, or is there something to it?
Speed matters in trading, especially when the market is bouncing all over the place. Milliseconds can literally mean the difference between a winning and a losing trade. So while ultra-fast might sound kind of buzzwordy, the fact that they're highlighting it suggests they've invested in a really robust system that's built for speed.
Makes sense. Faster trades mean more chances to catch those profitable opportunities. Now, this next one I'm a little fuzzy on. They mentioned something called swap-free accounts. What in the world is that?
This is huge for people who like to hold trades overnight, strategies like carry trading. Usually when you do that, you get hit with these rollover fees or swap fees. But with a swap-free account, you can potentially say bye-bye to those fees, which can save you a nice chunk of change over time. Ooh, free is always good, especially when it comes to fees. Okay, so they've got this whole bigger is better thing going on, but what about their actual trading options? They've got the Forex, commodities, indices. Wait a minute, are those stocks I see listed too?
Looks like it. And that's actually pretty cool because not every online broker out there offers individual stock trading. So it seems like they're aiming to be a real one-stop shop for traders, no matter what you like to trade.
Convenience is key. And speaking of convenience, you can't have a modern trading platform without a slick mobile app, right? They seem pretty jazzed about theirs. What's the verdict? Is it any good?
I haven't had a chance to really put it through its paces yet, but it's promising that they have their own app, A&D. They support MetaTrader, which is kind of the gold standard for a lot of serious traders.
So it sounds like they're trying to cater to both the newbies and the seasoned pros, which is smart. All right, so far so good, right? I mean, they seem to be ticking all the right boxes. Global, tight spreads, security-conscious, diverse assets, even a dedicated mobile app. But come on, there's got to be a catch. They can't be perfect, can they?
You're right to be a little skeptical. It's important to read the fine print and all that. For example, they brag about instant withdrawals, but then you see a little footnote that says that only applies to 95% of withdrawals. So what about that other 5%? There could be some important details hiding in there.
The fine print strikes again. What else should we be looking for as we dig deeper?
Fees. Always scrutinize those fees. Sure, they make a big deal about no overnight fees with those swap-free accounts. But trust me, other fees can pop up in the most unexpected places. Inactivity fees, withdrawal fees, even fees for trading specific types of assets. Those little charges can add up fast.
You're preaching to the choir. Hidden costs are the worst.
Okay, before we move on, I notice they're making a big deal about being a partner of La Liga in LATAM. Is that a big deal? Or is it just marketing fluff?
It could be a strategic move, Partnering with Liga, especially in Lamet, suggests they're really trying to make inroads with the Latin American market. It might mean they have a good grasp of the financial landscape there and what traders in that region are looking for.
Interesting. So they're not just thinking globally, but also locally. Smart move.
But it's not just about being global. You got to make sure their services are actually available where you are. Just because they're a big international company doesn't mean they can operate everywhere.
Right. Those pesky geographical restrictions.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in all the bells and whistles and forget about the practical stuff.
Exactly. And you know those regulatory licenses we were talking about? Those can come with geographical limitations too. So yeah, always double check that before you get too excited. Good point. Speaking of things to double check, we talked about security earlier, and I know that PCI DSS thing is great for protecting my payment info.
Yeah.
But what about the security of the actual trading platform itself?
That's a great question. It's one thing to protect your money, but your account needs to be secure too, right? Let's see. Here we go. It's a little hidden, but they do mention using two-factor authentication for all account logins.
Okay, so that's good. I mean, two-factor authentication is pretty much a must these days.
Absolutely. It's like having an extra layer of protection makes it way harder for someone to get into your account, even if they somehow get a hold of your password.
Right, because passwords just aren't enough these days. It seems like every week there's another data breach in the news.
It's scary out there.
It is. Okay, so security's covered. What about their customer support? That could be make or break for me when it comes to these online platforms.
Yeah, customer support is huge, especially in trading. Things move fast, and you need to know that you can get help when you need it. They say they have 24/7 support.
Which is great, but 24/7 support can mean a lot of things. Is it live chat, email, carrier pigeon?
You got it. It's not just about the hours, it's about the quality and how easy it is to actually get in touch with a real person. I always recommend checking online reviews too. See what other traders are saying about their experiences with Exness's customer service. Real people, real stories.
Yeah, those reviews can be super helpful. Okay, so we've covered security, what they offer for trading, fees, customer support. What else should people be thinking about before they decide to go with Exness?
Don't forget about education. Especially if you're just starting out in the trading world, it's not enough to just have the platform right. You need to know what you're doing.
It's true. There's a learning curve with everything.
Exactly. So look for brokers that offer things like educational resources, maybe some basic market analysis, even webinars. That kind of stuff can be super valuable.
It's like having a trading mentor in your back pocket. We've talked a lot about transparency, and it seems like that's something that's really important when you're evaluating a broker.
100%. You want a broker that's an open book. No hidden fees, no surprises. They should be upfront about their services, how much they charge, and, any risks involved.
Speaking of risks, they mentioned something about negative balance protection. Can you break that down for us? What does that even mean, and why should we care?
That's a really important feature, especially if you're thinking about using leverage. Basically, it means you can't lose more money than you have in your account.
So even if the market totally tanks, I won't end up in debt.
Exactly. It gives you peace of mind. Your losses are limited, even in a worst-case scenario, which is a nice safety net to have. Now, before we move on, there's one more thing I want to touch on. It's something that a lot of people forget about, but it's really important.
Okay, spill the beans. What's this crucial but often overlooked thing we need to think about?
It's their history. Like, how long have they been around? Have they had any run-ins with regulators, any scandals, that kind of stuff.
So it's like checking their references before you hire them to handle your money.
Exactly. Do a little digging. Look for reviews from sources you trust. See if any regulators have flagged them for anything shady. Just get a sense of how transparent they are about their past.
There's that word again. Transparency. It really does seem to be the key to all of this.
It's essential. And while we're on the topic, have you noticed how they don't talk much about their order execution policies? Like, do they use an ECN or a dealing desk model?
Okay, you've officially lost me. ECN. Dealing desk. Can you break those down for us regular folks?
Sure. So an ECN broker is kind of like a middleman, but in a good way. They connect your trades directly to other traders in the market. It usually means you get better prices, because you're seeing what the market's actually doing, and your trades happen faster.
So it's like cutting out the middleman.
Oh.
Except they're the middleman.
Yeah, but a more direct one. With a dealing desk broker, well, they might be taking the other side of your trade, which isn't always a bad thing, but it could be a conflict of interest.
Interesting. So do they say which one they use, or do we have to put our detective hats back on?
Honestly, their website isn't super clear about it, so I'd reach out to their customer support and just ask them straight up, hey, what's your order execution model? Do you operate a dealing desk? That kind of thing.
Always ask. Love it. Okay, now let's talk about the fun stuff, the tools. What about their research and analysis tools? What do they offer?
They've got the basics covered, like an economic calendar, a trading calculator, a currency converter. That kind of stuff is really helpful, especially for new traders.
Right, but what about the more, shall we say, experienced traders? Do they offer any of those fancy charting tools or in-depth market analysis reports?
That's where things get a little vague. They mention analytical tools, but don't go into a ton of detail. But they do support MetaTrader, and that platform is known for having really great charting and analysis features.
So the more advanced stuff might require some digging around or maybe even using third-party integrations.
Possibly. Honestly, the best way to know for sure is to just ask them directly. Or even better, see if they have a demo account you can play around with.
Always a good idea to test drive before you buy. So big picture time, would you say Exness is worth considering? Should they be on everyone's shortlist?
They make a pretty strong case. I mean, they're global, they offer competitive spreads, they seem really security conscious, they have a diverse range of assets, and their mobile experience looks pretty slick. But, as with any financial decision, do your research.
Couldn't agree more. Research is key.
Definitely. Look closely at their fees. See what kind of educational resources they have. Test out their platform. And don't be afraid to pepper their customer support with any questions that pop up.
Knowledge is power. It's all about empowering yourself to make the best choices for your own trading journey. Any final words of wisdom before we wrap things up?
The trading world is constantly changing, so stay curious. Never stop learning and exploring.
Wise words to end on. Well, that's our deep dive into Exness. Hopefully you learned a thing or two and feel ready to tackle the world of online trading. Until next time, happy trading, everyone.